We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Mem Vav Amud Aleph Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 146a. We're continuing with Rabbi Yochanan's answers to various questions. The question here is, how come the Ovdei Kochavim, the idol worshippers, have this bad smell? And he answers that at the time Shabbat Nochash al Chava, when the snake came upon Chava, Hitel Ba Zuama, there was a certain smell that he put within her. Yisrael Sha'amdu al Har Sinai Paska Zu Amasan. So Rabbi Yochanan explains, Klal Yisrael who stood on Har Sinai, their smell stopped. Ovdei Kochavim Shelo Amdu al Har Sinai Lo Paska Zu Hamasan. But the idol worshippers who were not by Har Sinai, their zuama, their bad smell, never went away. Rashi says, Kishabon Nochash al Chava, when the Nochash came upon Chava, Kishanasan Lo Eitza Lechol Min Ha'etz. Rashi says, when he gave her the advice to eat from the tree, he had relations with her. Dechsiv HaNachash Hishiyani Lashon Nisuin. It's a language of Nisuin, a language of marriage. So the Gemara now says, Amar Le Rav Acha B'rei Durav Rav Ashi. Rav Acha, the son of Rava, said to Rav Ashi, Geirimai. Okay, according to that explanation, what about people who convert to Judaism? Rashi says, Geirimai Shelo Hayu al Har Sinai Mehechon Paska Zuama. So Geirim, who are converting to Judaism, they weren't in Har Sinai. At what point or how did the Zuama stop from them? How did the smell leave them? Amar Le said back to him, Afagav De'inu Lo Hava, even though they weren't at Har Sinai, Mazlayu Hava, their mazel was at Har Sinai. Rashi says, Mazlayu Hava B'Sinai, V'chol Sha'amdu al Har Sinai, Niskadshu V'nitaru V'nisravu. Even anyone whose mazel was at Har Sinai became pure and healed, Mikol Mum, from all blemishes. V'af Ivrim Upischim Shoyi B'Yisrael Kedatanya V'Sifri. Rashi says, even those who were blind, those who were lame, everybody was healed, so that includes the Geirim as well. Techsiv, like it says in the pasuk, Es Asher Yeshno Po Imanu Omeid Hayom L'fnei Hashem Elokeinu V'es Asher Einenu Po V'gomer. It says who is here today, and that person who is not here today as well. It applied to them at Har Sinai. The Gemara says, Upliga de Rav Abba Bar Kahana. This entire statement over here about the Zuhama, that it stopped at Har Sinai, argues on Rav Abba Bar Kahana, Dama Rav Abba Bar Kahana, because Rav Abba Bar Kahana says, At Shlosha Doros Lo Paska Zuhama Me Avosenu. It took 3 generations for the Zuhama to leave our fathers. Avram holed as Yishmael. Avram gave birth to Yishmael, indicating that the Zuhama was still there. Yitzchak holed as Esav. Yitzchak gave birth to Esav, also indicating the Zuhama was still there. Yaakov holed Yud Beis Shvatim Shalohaya Bohen Shum Dovi. But Yaakov had 12 Shvatim, and there was no blemish within them at all, indicating that the Zuhama had left after 3 generations of Avos. Gemara continues with the Mishnah. Shover Adam Esachavis Lechol Heimena Grogros. A person is allowed to break a barrel open in order to eat from it dried figs. As long as he doesn't have kavana to create a kli. Rashi says, Shover Adam Chavis Malaya Grogros. You have a barrel, it's full of grogros. Besakin or besayif, you could take a knife or a sword. Lechol Mimena Grogros, to eat grogros. The Ein B'Mekalkel Shum Iser Shabbos. The idea here is you're being mekalkel the barrel. You're basically lopping off the top of it. There's no Isser Shabbos in Mekalkel, therefore it's permitted. As long as he's not intending to make a nice opening, that would already be a problem. And the Mishnah continues, you're also not allowed to put a hole in the cork of the barrel. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Rashi says, you have this cork that's stuck in the mouth of the barrel and you want to make a hole in it. Instead, what you have to do is take off the entire cork. If you're going to make a hole in the cork, then already that's considered making a Pesach. It's a problem of making this opening. The Chachamim say it's okay. Rashi says, it's not normal to make an opening in a barrel by putting a hole in the cork, so the Chachamim say it's not a problem. You can't make a hole in the side. We'll see what that means in the Gemara. Now, if you have a hole in the barrel, don't put wax on top of it. That's a problem of mimareach. Rashi says that's a problem of memachik, smoothing out. Amar Rabbi Yehuda says, there was a story that came in front of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai in this location in the city of Orev, or in this area of Orev. He said, I'm afraid that when you're taking the wax and smoothing it out, that might not only be an Isser Doraisa, it might be an Isser Derabanan. Gemara says, Amar Rav Oshia says, Lo shanu ela drusos. When we're talking in this Mishnah that you're allowed to take a sword or a knife and you're allowed to lop off the top of the barrel, that's only if the figs are drusos, which means they're still pressed in a circle. So you're going to use that sword not only to lop off the top of the barrel, you're also going to use it to cut the dried figs. Avol mefurados lo. But if they're already separated, then you're not allowed to use the sword for this purpose. Rashi explains, Avol mefurado shein tzarech lechatchan. If you don't need to cut the grogros, lo yetaltel saif lishbar chavis. You're not allowed to move the sword in order to break open the chavis, the masnisin Reb Nechemia, because according to Reb Oshia, our Mishnah is Reb Nechemia. Reb Nechemia's opinion is you're only allowed to move a kli for its designated purpose, as we'll say later on, and the designated purpose of this item that you're moving is to cut things like dried figs. If you're not cutting dried figs, you're only lopping off the top of the barrel, it's going to be a problem. That's how Reb Oshia understands our Mishnah. So he limits our Mishnah to a case of drusos. So Meisvei, we ask a question from a brayso. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, maybe Adam as achaves shal yayin umatis rosha b'sayif umanichel if neorchem b'Shabbos ve'ino choshesh. It says you're allowed to bring the barrel of wine and you lop off its head with the sword and you give it to the guest. Now in this case, obviously, you're not going to be using the sword for any other purpose. The wine doesn't need to be cut up with a sword. So the Gemara answers, Hahi Rabbanan Masnisan Reb Nechemia. Says that brisa is according to the Rabbanan, that you're allowed to move the sword for other purposes. It doesn't have to only be moved for its designated use. But our Mishnah follows Reb Nechemia, again, according to Reb Oshia. So the Gemara asks, why is Reb Oshia forced to say that our Mishnah is going like Reb Nechemia, and only in a case of drusos when the figs need to be cut? Why not just say the Mishnah is talking about separated grogros, and it really follows the opinion of the Rabbanan? Why is he forcing the position of the Mishnah into this narrow case? Amar Rava, so Rava says, Masnisan Keshise. The reason why he's doing this is because the Mishnah itself was difficult. Mai iria detani grogros. Why talk about dried figs? Listen, peiros, have any fruit. Why are you picking this particular fruit? Elashmamina b'drusa. It's something unique that these figs need to be cut up. They're drusos, they're pressed together, and therefore he assumed that the Mishnah must be Reb Nechemia. Tanya Chad, we have one brisa which taught as follows. Chosalos shel grogros v'shel tmorim matir umafkia v'chotech. Rashi says that the chosalos, this was a kli, that it was sort of like baskets, and they put dates in there that were bad, and they would ripen in them. So the first brisa is saying you can untie. Let's say there's a rope that's covering the cover that's tying the cover onto the basket. You can untie it. But and then the Mishnah also says mafkia v'chosech. You're allowed to unravel the rope, and you're even allowed to cut the rope. V'tanya idach. But another brisa says matir. You could untie the rope. Avalo mafkia v'lo chosech. But you're not allowed to unravel the rope, you're not allowed to cut the rope. So what is the difference? The Gemara answers, Lokash, it's not difficult. Harabbanan, Harab Nechemia. It depends if one brisa is going like the Rabbanan. According to the Rabbanan, you can move a kli for purposes that are not designated. So therefore, you can move something to cut this rope. You can use a kli to cut the rope, to unravel the rope. But according to Reb Nechemia, you're only allowed to move kalim for the designated purpose. And therefore, the only thing you're allowed to do is untie the rope. You're not allowed to use a kli to do these other things to the rope. The Tanya, we learned in a brisa, Reb Nechemia Omer, Reb Nechemia says, Afilu tarvud va'afilu talis va'afilu sakin. Doesn't matter what kind of utensil you're using, whether it be a ladle, whether it be a talis, whether it be a knife. Ein nitalan el tzarich tashmishan. They're only taken for their designated use, and that's the same idea in the brisa, which is strict above. Bami nemer Rav Sheshis. They ask Rav Sheshis the following question: Mahu lemivraz chavisa beburtia b'shabsa. Are you allowed to take a spear and stick it into the walls of a barrel on Shabbos in order to make a hole? Are you trying to make a nice opening, and that would be a problem? Or maybe it's just ein yafa. You want to show that you're giving a lot, so you might make a big opening to show that you're giving out a lot of wine, so it's permitted. Amar Lei said back, in such a case, you're having intention for a Pesach, and it is a problem. Meisvei, they ask the following question. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, maybe Adam chaves shal yayin umatis rosha b'sayif. The exact same brayso we brought before, that you can bring a barrel of wine, and you're allowed to lop off the head with a sword. So how come over there it's allowed, but when you're taking the spear and you're sticking it in, it's a problem? The more answers, over there where you're lopping off the top of the barrel, for sure you're not having an intention to make a nice opening, you're having an intention for ein yafa. You want to show that you're giving a lot. But over here, if you wanted to show that you're giving a lot, why not just take the cork off the top of the barrel? What are you sticking a spear in the side for? So on the contrary, that indicates you're trying to fashion a nice opening. The Gemara continues at the two dots. Ein nok from Meguf. It said you're not allowed to put a hole in the cork of the barrel. Amar Ravuna says machlokas lamala. The machlokas in the Mishnah, whether you're allowed to put this hole or not, is talking about on the top of the cork. And Rashi says, Berosh ha-megufa hasam udashar rabbanan. The Rabbanan only allow it in the top. It's not normal to put an opening over there. You would just instead take off the whole cork. That's where there's a machlokas. But if you're doing it from the side of the cork, then everybody would agree. It's also Rashi says, people sometimes do it as an opening. The explanation is people don't want to have an opening at the top. They're afraid dust or other junk will fall into the wine, so they purposely do it off to the side. So that already, everybody agrees you're having kavanah for an opening, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be aser. And that's exactly what the Mishnah goes on to say. You can't make the hole at the side. But Rav Chisda says, machlokas min atzad. No, the machlokas is at the side of the cork. Aval al gaba divrei hakol mutter, but on top, everybody agrees it's mutter. That's not the normal way to make an opening. If you want an opening, you could just take off the cork. So then the question is, so what does it mean when it says in the Mishnah, you can't do it at the side? We just had a machlokas about the side. Gemara says, hasam begufa de chavis. At the side of the actual barrel, not the cork of the barrel, not the lid, but the side of the actual barrel, that everybody agrees it's a problem to put a hole over there. The machlokas is when you're talking about the megufa shel chavis, when you're talking about the cork of the barrel. Tana Rabbanu, we learned in a brayse, nokva nekav chadash b'Shabbos, you're not allowed to make a new hole in a kli on Shabbos, v'mbala hosef mosef, but if you want to add to an existing hole, it's okay. V'yeshom ein mosif, and some say you cannot add. V'shavin shenok v'nekev yoshin lechatchil. Everybody agrees you can reopen a hole that was already there, an old hole which was closed up. That's certainly not a problem of making a Pesach. The Tanakama, so the Gemara asks, according to the Tanakama, ma'ishna minekev chodash delo to kamasakin pischa, o sufe nami kamasakin pischa. How come when it comes to a new hole, they say it's a problem you're making a Pesach? But when you're adding on to a hole, isn't that also a problem of adding on? Why is adding on not a problem of fixing a Pesach? Amar Rabba says the answer is as follows. Devar Torah, according to the Torah, on a Doraisa level, called Pesach sheino asi lahachnas ulahotzi, any opening that's not made for both going in and out, ain't Pesach. It's not a problem of Pesach on a Doraisa level. For Rabbanan hu degazer, the entire reason why we're not allowed to make openings that only go in one direction is a din derabbanan, it's a gzeir derabbanan, mishum lul shel tarnagolim, it's because of the holes that's made in chicken coops. Those are really made to let the air in and to let the bad air out, the hevel out. People won't realize if they see that you're making a one-directional hole, they'll think you can make a hole in a lul shel tarnagolim. So therefore, that explains the reason why we're not worried by adding on. The reason why you're allowed to add on to an existing hole is because you're never going to come to add on to a hole in a lul shel tarnagolim, which the Gemara will explain why. We'll see that in the next video on Daf Kuf Mem Vav Amud Beis.